much, Bernard. Good morning.
I'm well. Let's get it on. What's happening?
Front page of the Daily Graphic, Bernard. Ghana Health Service sounds alarm bells. 400 COVID-19 cases recorded daily. President firmly in charge of state, according to the Information Minister. Bring back dorm level campaign launched. WAEC releases WASI timetable. Examination begins July 20. And then the president has also pledged support to Valentina Minta on her ICC duties.
Now, the Bring Back Domelovo stories on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. CSOs want president to rescind decision on Domelovo. Senior minister tests positive for COVID-19 as Ghana's case count crosses 21,000. 13 final year students in 4 schools test positive for COVID-19. Tamale Teaching Hospital performs 540 fistula surgeries out of 600 cases. And BOST COCOBOD closed offices to protect workers against COVID-19.
Front page of the Herald newspaper. Chief Justice others on coronavirus treatment. Justice Jones Doche assumes head of judiciary. In Siasare hijacks Ghana Health Services official Bangalore. Education interest groups put their needs before NDC running mate.
The Finder. Big boost for COVID-19 testing. Enough consignment of reagents arrive in Ghana. This is according to Dr. Kuma Abuaje. Reverse Domelevos proceed on leave decision. CSOs to the president. Transport fares go up by 15% from July 11. And the Rebecca Foundation commissions 2 libraries in 2 communities.
Front page of the New Publisher newspaper. Angry women finger Denta MP. Apologize or lose your seat. That story on the increment in transport fares is also here. Are NDC officials COVID proof? A+ asks Asosafo Mafu gets virus.
The Chronicle. Alleged police killing at Konongo Adonfe. Professor Kosa, Konongo Konfanochi Teaching Hospital pathologist face off in court over conflicting post-mortem reports. COVID-19 wreaking havoc on Ghanaians and some other stories.
Front page of the Ghanaian Observer. COVID-19 scare at Accra Girls Senior High School. Government on top of situation, says Dr. Aduchum, the Deputy Education Minister. And the story about the Kosovo International Airport not being for sale has also shown up.
Popped up again.
Yeah. Now, if you check the new Crusading Guide, crossfire in NDC over John and Jane candidature. We won't accept fraudulent election results. NPP Subin delegates. John Kuma visits voter registration centers. Kotoka International Airport not for sale. It appears here as well. This is the aviation minister. And mining of Etiwa Forest. CSOs, individuals sue government.
Front page of the Informer paper. Proceed on leave directive to Auditor General. CSOs fight Ekufu-Addo over dorm level. John and Jane tickets. Daisies NPP is also here.
Now the Go Street business. ICUMS generates record high import duty revenues. 1.2 billion Ghana cedis generated in June, despite COVID-19 impact on trade volumes. GEPA facilitates vegetable production boost. Presents seedlings valued at 90,000 cedis to farmers. GSE approves delisting of PZ cousins. And COCOBOD begins general fumigation today.
And finally from me, Bernard, on the front page of the BNFT, COVID-19 heightens debt repayment challenges for borrowers as NPLs begin to inch up. Transparency in payment needed to keep us in business. Farmer suppliers to NHIA.
CitiNewsroom.com. No one can beat John Mahama in 2020 elections. Ama Benyiwado. Also, I wasn't interested in being Mahama's running mate for 2020, Nimoy Thompson. Meanwhile, students not at peace to study close down schools. This is the minority. And government approves 15% hike in transport fares. Still on CitiNewsroom.com. Mahama's running mate not a threat to MPP, according to Mustafa Hamid. Meanwhile, political scientist says she's likely to increase NDC votes. Meanwhile, Health Minister is back at work after recovering from COVID-19, according to his deputy, Dr. Bernard Okoboy. City Business News leads with Gridco staff in Tema to undergo mass COVID-19 testing after a positive case. Also, JICA to construct flyover at Tema Interchange and offer scholarships to Ghanaians. Other stories, COVID-19 hits beauty industry as sales drop due to low patronage. And Guidec will ensure maximum gains from bauxite mining. Ghana's ambassador to China assures. My Joy Online leads with police calm protest in KNUST SHS following death of students after alleged neglect over COVID-19 fears. Also, Ghana's case count hits 21,968 with 891 new cases. Also, we've been thrown into state of fear after one teacher tested positive for COVID-19. This is Nagrat. And asking Domolovo to take his accumulated leave doesn't derail fight against corruption. This is Information Minister Opon Nkrumah. Star News, Buabia someone says, I attack Jane's records, not her gender. Also, you have no answer to Jane, Beniwado to MPP, and retract attack on Jane Naana or lose your seat. Women group to Boabing Asama. So that story is really gaining traction. If you go to Ghana News Agency, they are more interested in the COVID. Ghana receives sufficient reagents to ramp up COVID-19 testing. Also, COVID-19 negative perception hindering fight against the virus. And of course, globally, we are told that California sees 10,000 new cases in a single day. Guys, this is serious. And FBI director says China is the greatest threat to the U.S. Other stories, if you're a Ghanaian student in the U.S., you may be on your way back because of online studies. Visas will not be extended. Let's start with what you have in the graphic.
It's COVID,
Yes.
and a lot of politics. So let's go COVID. Front page of the Daily Graphic, Ghana Health Service sounds alarm bells. The country is now recording an average of 400 new cases of the coronavirus disease a day, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, has said. Speaking at a press briefing organized by the Ministry of Information to provide an update on the country's COVID-19 case management situation in Accra yesterday, Dr. Kumar-Boaji said the cases were detected through routine surveillance and enhanced contact tracing. There is an increasing trend. This tells you that we are doing an average of 400 new cases a day, and that is something we really need to take caution of and make sure we bring down. He said since Ghana recorded its first COVID-19 case in March this year, there have been 21,968 positive cases recorded, out of which 17,156 had recovered, leaving existing active cases at 4,683. He then spoke about the testing challenges, which he will address in the regions that have arrived. Now, on safety in schools, the Deputy Minister of Education in charge of basic and secondary education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, who presented an update on measures adopted to ensure the safety of final year students in senior high and junior high schools, noted that the government had put in place the right measures that would ensure their safety, and also had the Zongo Minister speaking about Zongo infections.
Now, there's a big boost for COVID-19 testing. We've received a consignment of reagents. Now, the story is in the Finder. The story says Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, has disclosed that Ghana has received enough consignment of reagents used for testing COVID-19 samples. He said the consignment would revamp the testing capabilities of the country and restore the currently defunct testing centers. And according to him, with the consignment coming in from China last Thursday, we should be able to catch up and clear the backlog as quickly as possible. Now, responding to questions on whether there was the possibility of a lockdown in areas recording new cases, he said all cards were still on the table, and should there be the need for such an action, government would not hesitate to do so. Meanwhile, 648 students of the Accra Girls Senior High School who were contact traced, including a teacher and wife who tested positive, are in isolation pending further testing.
Still on COVID-19, DG of Ghana Health Service says measures are underway to track suspected cases in some senior high schools. The schools including Fantifim School, Prang SHS and Odogono SHS, among others. He said this at yesterday's press conference. We also have people in Adan Secondary whose samples have been taken because of suspected cases there. We have Pru West and Prang Senior High School, and then he also mentioned in Fantifim and one in Mankesim. Meanwhile, two stories related to schools. Students not at peace to study. Close schools down. This is the minority. Now, minority in parliament is calling on government to close down schools again, following reports that some senior high schools have contracted COVID-19 a few weeks after academic work resumed. Final year SHS and Form 2 Ghost Track students return to school following the directive of the president. Now, as reports have emerged about some schools having positive cases, MP for Bosa South and Deputy Ranking Member for Education Committee, Clement Apak, told Eyewitness News that government has failed to protect students and that schools should be closed down again. Then let me take you to Nagrat. If you go to myjournalline.com, there's a story there. Nagrat says, we've been thrown into a state of fear after one teacher tested positive. Members of the National Association of Graduate Teachers say they are worried after a teacher at the Accra Girls Senior High School tested positive. Vice President of Nagrat, Jacob Anaba, said teachers fear there would be more cases, especially because there is no testing system available in the schools. Teachers have been thrown into a state of fear. They lack concentration to do their work as a result of the incident, he said on Newsnight.
Meanwhile, if you go to page 6 of the Daily Graphic, and also pages 32 and 33. Let me give you quick updates there. President is firmly in charge of the state, according to the Information Minister. Now, Kojo Pankuma said at the bi-weekly national update on the disease yesterday that the president had been conducting affairs from the presidential villa at the Jubilee House using technology. The president continues his self-isolation while conducting the affairs of state at the presidential villa. Today is the third day the president has been conducting state business via telephone and other forms of tech, and he has in particular been following up on the COVID-19 response program. Now, if you go to page 33, attach seriousness to COVID-19 fight, Catholic bishops. The Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference has asked the people to attach more seriousness to the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. It said developments so far indicated that many people were not concerned about the spread of the virus and the damage it was causing in the country. It mentioned, for instance, the high level of disregard for the observance of COVID-19 protocols at the recently held NPP parliamentary primaries, the ongoing voters registration exercise, last Monday's event to announce the running mate of the flag bearer of the NDC at the party's headquarters, and some other public gatherings, saying scenes at those programs left much to be desired. Now, for students and parents as well, you can get page 32 of the Daily Graphic. WAEC has released the WASI timetable. Exams begin July 20.
Final one, good news here. Health Minister back at work after recovering from COVID-19. This is Okoboy speaking. Deputy Minister of Health, Bernard Okoboy, has said that the substantive Minister, Opoku-Agyemang, has recovered after getting infected with COVID-19 a few weeks ago. According to him, Mr. Agyemang is hale and hearty and has fully resumed his official duties. Kojo?
And the senior minister has tested positive for COVID-19.
Just give us the details of that one.
That story says Ghana's cases of the coronavirus disease has increased to over 21,000. The senior minister, Yaw Safomafo, is among the latest to have tested positive for COVID-19 and was being treated from home, according to the Ghana Health Service.
And also, if you check page 3 of the Herald, they are also saying that the Chief Justice has tested positive, according to it, and that Justice Jones Doche is now in the interim head of the judiciary.
Now let's go to
other stories.
The NDC flag bearer, because that the choice of the running mate is still making news, and there's quite a number of stories here on that. If you have them in the newspapers, we can go there.
Yes, angry women fingered enter MP.
Okay.
Apologize or lose your seat. That's the new publisher's front page. Details on page 6. A women group calling itself Gracia Women of Substance Network has given the NPP Communication Director Yababuyan Samoa a 48-hour ultimatum to retract his comments against Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang or face their wrath. The group vowed that it would rally against him in the upcoming December polls if he did not take his comments back.
I actually have his reaction here. I attacked Naana's records, not agenda. This is Star News. MP for Adenta and NPP Communication Director Yababuyan Samoa has hit back at critics, including Betty Modirisu, for implying that he made sexist comments in his reaction to the NDC running mate's appointment. He insists that even though Jane Naana has distinguished herself in her career, her political achievements are nothing to write home about. Quote, I said the political choice of Jane John Mahama had nowhere to go. He was stuck. He couldn't find his Bawumia clone, so he ended up with somebody who he believes cannot challenge him for 2024 because he knows he will lose 2020 and he will return in 2024, and therefore he doesn't want a vice presidential running mate who will challenge him to the nomination. Nowhere did I say because she's a woman. He told Nade 30 on Star today. Now, other stories. Mohammed's choice of running mate likely to increase his votes. Political scientist, this is citinewsroom.com. A political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Seidu Alidu, says the NDC stands a chance of garnering more votes based on the choice of their running mate. And the story says this is the first time a major political party has selected a woman with a lot of substance as an academic. Being an academic means you have a lot of professionalism, stagecraft, rigor, and a lot of courage. And she was not only an academic but a leader, from the whole concept of being a head of department to being dean, VC, etc. And then he went on to say that he thinks that would make a difference. Then Ama Benyiwa Do has also been speaking. If you go to citinewsroom.com, Umaru Sanda Amadu interviewed her on Face to Face, and the former Central Regional Minister Ama Benyiwa Do is confident of a resounding victory for the NDC in 2020 elections. Speaking on Face to Face, she said Mr. Mahama had a higher chance of winning the election due to Nana Akufo-Addo's failure to deliver on his promises. Then, Kojo, there's other stories.
Yes, I want us to go to the transport fares because yesterday I got a lot of calls.
Yes.
People asking, is it taking effect, this, that. Transport fares go up by 15% from July 11. The Finder reports that transport fares have been increased by 15% effective Saturday, July 11, 2020. The Deputy Transport Minister, Daniel Titus Glover, who announced this, said the government took the decision in acknowledgement of the impact the COVID-19 pandemic has had on drivers. This comes a day after the leadership of a group calling itself Concerned Drivers Union threatened to increase fares by 30% due to the increase in fuel prices. The commercial drivers who have had to deal with a reduction in their incomes as a result of reduced intake due to measures put in place to curb the spread of the coronavirus say they can no longer bear the hardship they've been compelled to go through. Now, Mr. Glover said the various driver unions presented a petition to the ministry on Monday and were promised that the issue will be looked into. And after a meeting, they agreed to increase the transport fares by 15%. Now, still on transport, on drivers, police clash over bad roads. 3 drivers injured. Now, this is in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times. It said 3 drivers got injured when the police fired rubber bullets at them to disperse a crowd during a demonstration at Pune. Now, this followed a sit-down strike by members of the Pune branch of the Ghana Private Road and Transport Union. Now, the action of the drivers, numbering about 100, resulted in hundreds of passengers who traveled from Pune Township to Tema, Manhian, Pune Barrier, Shanghai, among others, stranded. However, other drivers forced passengers to alight from vehicles of colleagues who flouted the directive of the GPRTU. In an interview with The Times, the trustee to the Interim Management Committee of the Pune Drivers Union, Seth Nyako, said the strike was to protest against the bad nature of roads in the area.
I have a related story. JICA has signed 2 agreements with the government of Ghana to construct a flyover at the Tema interchange, as well as offer scholarships to Ghanaians. Now, the Tema interchange project will complement the completed Phase 1 interchange project to alleviate serious traffic congestion and improve logistics from the Tema port or from and to the Tema port to boost trade. Now, Kojo, the only point here is that once that interchange is finished, the traffic at the Pune area is going to be worse as the road is also bad.
Yes.
The project for improvement of the Tema motorway roundabout Phase 2 entails a detailed design to construct a flyover at the newly constructed Tema interchange, which was commissioned on June 5 by the President. This will include the procurement of a consultant, detailed design study, and preparatory works for the construction. And then it then gives some other details about JICA in the story.
If you read the contract documents, they advise that the government of Ghana should also find funding to work on the roads in that area.
So the Ashima roundabout, the Afariwa Junction, the Pune Barrier, there are lots of roads that will become seriously under
we
pressure.
should dualize that road from Tema all the way to a place beyond Miocho.
And
so that we can ease
and
the
then
burden.
The one that leads to Akosombo as well
And if you
needs
get
some
to the
dualization.
Pram Junction, we have to work on that intersection and some other.
So the Japanese have
intersections to help.
given us the money for Phase 2. We need to find money to do the other roads.
Okay, so let me tell you about CSOs who are on Operation Bring Back Dom Level.
Okay.
And that's on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. A coalition of more than 500 civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations has launched a nationwide campaign against the directive by President Nana Akufo-Addo to the Auditor General, Mr. Daniel Dom Level, to proceed on his accumulated leave. In a campaign dubbed Bring Back Dom Level, the coalition, which comprises the GII, which is the Ghana Integrity Initiative, the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, the Institute for Democratic Governance, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, and over 400 members of the CSO's platform on the Sustainable Development Goals, called on the President to reverse the proceed on leave decision. Led by the Executive Secretary of the GII, Ms. Linda Foyukwafo, the Executive Director of the GACC, Mrs. Beauty Mefanate, the Executive Director of IDEC, Dr. Emmanuel Akwiti, Country Director for Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, Ms. Wilhelmina Mensah, and the Executive Director of ASAP, Mr. Bemboache. The CSO said the action was to protect the independence of the Auditor General and indeed all state independent institutions. We'll see how that goes.
Now, I just want to go back to transport briefly. Metro Mass drivers demand replacement of old buses to revamp operations. This story came through yesterday after their strike. The staff of the Metro Mass Transit Limited are calling on the government to take steps to replace the deteriorated buses used for their daily operations. According to them, the company is currently running with buses that range between 16 to 20 years. The situation the workforce say is hampering efficiency and revenue generation. Chairman of the staff union, Ni Ashte Atram, said although the staff are keen on getting their salaries paid, an addition of 200 buses to their fleet will help them improve their operations. Kojo.
And I hope those buses will be procured locally because the President has given a directive. A directive signed by the Chief of Staff that we should buy cars produced by local companies. So if you are going to
Assembled
buy
in Ghana, not local companies necessarily.
Yeah.
Well,
now,
the companies are incorporated here, sort of. So
now, I just want to give you a quick round of stories around disturbances. So, in Citi News, 12 persons imprisoned over Doba and Kandinga clashes. And if you go to myjoyonline.com, police calm protest in KNUST SHS following death of students after alleged neglect of COVID-19. So let's just go through those two quickly.
And also on page 6 of the new publisher, armed men assault Ejura MP, Honorable Mohammed Bawa Brahma.
Start with that one.
Ashanti region. Okay, so tension is brewing at Ejura Sechedumasi in the Ashanti region after attacks attacked the opposition MP for the area on Monday afternoon. Mr. Mohammed Bawa Brahma was on a routine tour of some registration centers in the constituency when the incident occurred at about 1 p.m. local time. According to the story, he was attacked by an armed gang who assaulted him and 2 others without provocation. The development sparked widespread agitation among supporters of the opposition NDC who blocked the main Ejura Mampong road, prompting police response.
Still on violence, the Navrongo District Court in the Upper East Region has sentenced 12 out of 20 suspects arrested over a land dispute clash in Kasina Nankana area. According to the Navrongo police, the suspects were arrested in connection with their involvement in the recent land dispute clash between the people of Doba and Kandinga, which claimed 6 lives and injured 4 others on Saturday, July 4.
Bernard, let's go to the Konongo area. Professor Kosa, Konfanochi pathologist, face off in court. Remember the story of Kofi Ampoma, the man alleged to have been beaten by the police, the man who died as a cause of that. Now, 2 pathologists are set to meet at the Asoka Magistrate Court in Kumasi over 2 different pathology reports they have produced concerning the death of Kofi Ampoma. Now, the story says the police had gone to the village to allegedly arrest Indian hemp peddlers, but ended up arresting Kofi Ampoma, 36, a father of 2, and allegedly beat him up until he died in the bucket of the police pickup. Now, a pathologist, Dr. Enes Boache, was then contacted at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi to conduct a post-mortem examination on the body. His report, which was submitted to the court, indicated that Kofi Ampoma died of natural causes. The family of the deceased, however, disputed the claim and insisted that the second autopsy be conducted. A renowned Ghanaian pathologist, Professor Bedu Akosa, was contacted to conduct the second post-mortem examination, and his report indicates that Kofi Ampoma did not die of natural causes. With 2 different pathology reports presented to the court has decided to invite the 2 pathologists to properly brief the court to enable it to take a decision. They are to appear before the court on July 21, 2020.
Now, police calm protest in KNUST SHS following death of student after alleged neglect over COVID-19 fears. Armed police were brought in on Tuesday, July 7 to restore order after students of KNUST Senior High School went on a demonstration over the death of one of their colleagues on the campus. We heard this on the City Breakfast News. They accused the school authorities of leaving the boy who complained of stomach upset unattended to for almost 3 hours in the care of his colleagues due to fear of COVID-19.
Do you want us to do international
Yes, please.
stories?
International.
Before you do the international, Bernard, let me give you one agric. GEPA facilitates vegetable production, presents seedlings valued at 90,000 Ghana cedis to farmers.
Okay.
The story says the Ghana Export Promotion Authority has initiated steps to boost vegetable production by presenting high-grade seedlings valued at 90,000 cedis to vegetable producers and exporters in Ghana.
Now, let's turn our attention to global issues. California sees 10,000 new cases in a day. California and Texas in the U.S. have reported more than 10,000 new cases in a day, a Reuters tally shows. Some states in the U.S. are pausing plans to reopen, while others are continuing to ease restrictions. That's BBC. Meanwhile, President Trump of U.S. has said he thinks the U.S. is in a good place. Meanwhile, the WHO says there is emerging evidence the virus can be spread through particles in the air. Meanwhile, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro says he isn't surprised he has tested positive. Meanwhile, Melbourne is set to go back into second lockdown after a surge in cases. We have 11.8 million cases globally, more than 540,000 deaths, Godfred.
And one final one, that a survey happening currently in the UK indicates that only 22% of people testing positive for coronavirus reported having symptoms on the day of their test. This hammers home the importance of asymptomatic transmission, which is spread of the virus by people who aren't aware they are carrying it.
Let me take you to the US to end. Anger over US decision on foreign student visas. And you know, a lot of Ghanaian students study in the US. Politicians and academics have criticized the decision to withdraw US visas from foreign students whose courses move fully online. US Immigration and Customs Enforcement said people could face deportation unless they change to an institution with in-person tuition. Now, a number of U.S. universities are considering online teaching in the new academic year due to coronavirus. It is not clear how many people will be affected. The Student and Exchange Visitor Program, which is operated by ICE, had introduced a temporary exemption to allow students whose courses had moved online for the spring and summer semesters to remain in the U.S. However, the exemption would not be extended in the new academic year. This decision affects students who are on U.S. F1 and M1 visas, according to the ICE statement. We'll leave it here. We'll come back with City Business News at 7. This is 97.3. Stay with us.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Do you want to bank safely from the comfort of your home or office? Then join Fidelity Bank today. Together, let's create your new account online. Visit www.fidelitybank.com.gh and open your preferred account. All you need is proof of residence,